Greetings, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel, All That Is. We are a couple minutes early. I just wanted to make sure that our technology was working because we were given heck the last time.
Well, there's 5 planets in retrograde, so
Yeah, I know. So maybe we'll just give this a few moments while everybody tunes in. But welcome, Shekinah Grace, Shekinah Ma, to this channel and our new iteration or episode of the Shamankas. So welcome everybody to this Trinity alignment of Shekinah Grace, Shekinah Ma, and myself. And as we tune in, I would really appreciate it if you can put a like on this video. And welcome to all of our subscribers. Welcome to anybody that's new to the channel. I really appreciate it. I had a new milestone I believe it was yesterday with the new um, posts from Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. It's reached 1,200, 1,200, I think it is, subscribers. So I was quite excited about that.
congratulations.
Thank you. So welcome to the show, ladies. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Same. It's been a busy
Yeah,
day.
I love that. I love that we are all wearing these beautiful colors. There's the yellow and the two magentas, and we're all beautifully aligned. So, yeah, it's really quite amazing how we seem to be, working in synchronicity, if you will, on all of the work that we are doing. So, it's really quite beautiful.
And it's a beautiful new moon in Leo today, so we've
Mhm.
entered into the Lion's Gate, and it feels very powerful.
Yeah, it does. I also stumbled on something, and perhaps we can talk about this later, but tomorrow is known as the day out of time. And it's like the new year for the galactic cosmic, I guess, reality. So, yeah, it's all truly in great alignment.
Like the day after the Mayan dream spell, the end of the Mayan calendar. And
Yeah,
so we're out
absolutely.
now because the calendar's ended.
Yeah,
So we're
absolutely.
in a whole different realm of God knows what. I did have an interesting insight on the Mayan calendar because my daughter was born on December 21st. And when she turned 7, it was the 21st of 2012, like the actual day where everybody thought
Oh,
it was
wow.
like the end of the world. And she thought it was going to be the end of the world on her birthday.
Oh, wow.
It was quite a day. It was a lot of emotion. And I can tell you that told her what came to me that day was that it's not the end of the world, it's the end of Maya. So if
Yeah.
the Mayans were tracking the Maya or the time spell of illusion, because we know time is an illusion, the past, present, future all coexist at once in the here and
Hmm.
now. And so I told her it's the end of illusion, and she loved that. She just was like, "Yes, my birthday is the day of truth." So
That's
that's what I
awesome.
think of with the Mayan calendar.
That's awesome. Do you want to bring in your sacred prayers, Shekinah Ma,
Yes, let's
to
do
get us
it.
started?
Welcome to
Okay.
new moon. So this is very powerful. And the vision I had as I was mentally just tuning into this, I seen like the lion's mouth. Like in yoga, we do the breath of lion. So you're like,
Hmm.
and you like expel
Yeah.
the tongue and you open wide your mouth, your jaw.
Yeah.
And so I seen this giant lion's gate, but like of the mouth of the lion. And then I seen the medicine wheel inside of the lion's mouth, and it was very like star power, star fire, just this like beautiful Lyrian, whole powerful connection to the star peoples. So I'm gonna say if you can close your eyes, I
Okay,
like
I'm just
putting my
going to light the candle here before you get started. So,
let's light the candle.
okay, go ahead.
So we'll close our eyes and I like putting my hands on my heart, kind of like we pledge allegiance to the truth, to the united cosmos of the galaxy. And we can just visualize extremely beautiful, like Narnia, like Aslan. And it's though a white lion. And we're going to see this Lyrian lion stargate. And we're going to see that, like, in the lion pride, which is a pack of lions, so it's called a pride. The Lion King is like the chief of the lions. So we're going to see the chief or the Lion King, the open jaw. And we're going to see on the right entrance, of the mouth, we see that right side, and we come into that east doorway. And the door opens, and we come into the east to the place of that rising sun, rising star power, the morning star, the evening star coming into the east, the place of eagle, the place of higher vision. And we invite and invoke all the beautiful ascended masters and winged ones, the fae, the bird tribe. All of the winged ones exist in the east in the place of air. And so we breathe in that breath of life, and we invite in all that ascended master, angelic, archangelic energies right into this field, right into here and now. And then looking into the south at the bottom of the mouth of the lion's gate, where those huge teeth are just like, and the tongue's hanging out. You can just see that lion just, and in that bottom part of that jaw, we invoke in that south shield, that place of the dragons and the serpent clans, the place of the dragon lines, ley lines, meridians of the earth. And we invoke in that fire element, that breath of fire, that purification, and we call in our power and our passion and our purpose right into that lion's gate, right into our own hearts, our own spirits. And now coming into the west, into the place of the merfolk, the mermaids, the whales, the dolphins, the fish, the starfish, the seahorse, all that dwells in water. All the messages of the water, all the codes of the water, and we call you into this here and now through the west, through the place of the setting sun, and to the west female side of that lion. And we welcome in the spirit of the west, of the water, of the merfolk, the guardians. So we have the east, the guardians of the angels and archangels and winged ones, south, dragons and serpents, and now we have the merfolk and all those beautiful oceanic and freshwater beings. Coming down to the top of the head, of the crown, of the corona of this beautiful white Lyran superstar Lion King. And with him is his lioness, the queen of the pride. And together they stand. And now we see at the top of that mouth, and we see that north energy, and we call in then that beautiful Sasquatch and unicorn guardians of earth, call in the gnomes, the rock stones, crystals, calling in all that beautiful white buffalo calf woman energies, ancestors, elders, and just this amazing power of Polaris, of the North Star, shines down upon this field, activating, clearing and cleaning and opening up our own lion's gate within our own beings and our own chakras to bless our solar plexus as we complete this lower triangle within the Merkabah body, within our lower chakras, within our physical bodies, 3D timelines. And so let us open up this gate with the center being the Christos, Magdalene, codes of Sophia, right in the center of the gate where it all meets as one. And then it goes, phew, and it's as above, so below, as within, so without. And this circle is set. Wow. Lion.
Thank you,
All
thank you, thank you. That was so powerful, beautiful.
right.
Yeah, these
Slept a lot.
Lionsgate energies are coming in so perfectly, and it's ahead of time, but it's really, really powerful, isn't it, this time? Because all of these energies are sort of converging together. It's just so amazing.
Like new moon in Leo kind of opens the door, eh? And then the Pleiades are all hanging out with the moon right now, and like everything's retrograding, it feels like. So, like right now, we're in the biggest recalibration I've ever imagined possible.
Yeah, I was just looking at what this new moon means today, and I'm just going to read a little blurb here. It says, "The universe is calling you back to your center, where your confidence lives untouched by fear or noise. This
Mm,
new moon is about remembering who you are when you're not doubting yourself. If you don't need to shrink, no, you don't need to shrink to be loved. Sorry. You don't need to dim to belong. This is your moment to choose yourself out loud without guilt. Let your passion lead. Let joy be enough. Let your heart speak first. You are not too much. You are finally aligned with your truth. The universe is ready to support the version of you that stops playing small. This new chapter begins with self trust, bold love, and radical honesty. Be seen, be fully you." So I thought that was quite beautiful.
mm-hmm.
So today's show, ladies, we titled it The Solar Plexus, A Transfiguration of Light, Healing the God Wound and Addressing Humanity's Identity Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quite a mouthful, isn't it? But I think we have been wanting to bring this energy forward for a while now, and we've been blocked, we've been stopped, we've been we've been set back, but here we are. But it's been great because we've, in the meantime, have had a couple of gridwork missions, and we've accomplished quite a lot. So we did the Divine Mother, we did the Divine Father, the Divine Masculine, and we also worked on the children. So it's like we finished that Trinity in order to come to this place of, aligning those solar plexus energies. So just to briefly go through this and what the solar plexus chakra means, for anybody that's not really familiar with the chakra system. So it's located just above the navel, and it is your inner flame. In its pure divine creator blueprint, if you will, it represents the energy of I do. And it is the energy of strength, manifestation of one's desires. It is the personality or the ego. It holds power, determination, self-esteem, and it achieves goals. It's also associated with digestion. Its color is yellow, and it is linked to the element of fire. It has a 10-petaled lotus symbol, and in Sanskrit it is called the Manipura chakra, and it is known as the lustrous gem of the city. It says, "I am strong, I am confident, and I am abundant." All negative energy dissolves into the fire of this golden energy of transformation. In its inversion or blockage, you might feel a range of mental or emotional states such as low self-esteem, insecurity, indecision, procrastination, a lack of confidence, control issues, digestive problems, etc. And the extreme manifestation of this reflects in our society in the form of aggression, cruelty, invasion, war, and inflated ego. And we see a lot of this, right? It is also a disconnection or a distortion to our connection to the Creator and what is being considered as the God wound. And this also relates to our flawed, if you will, or what's being called the junk DNA. But to me, this is not junk at all. It's just our DNA in a dormant state, which is where we have been shut down in our connection to that Christ energy or that Sophia consciousness energy and our true interdimensional identity. And so, keeping all of this in mind, as we go through today's work and just exploring all of these potentials, So yeah, we'll just open up the field for the two Shekinahs to come in and give us their opinions of any of what I've said, or what they're feeling that's close to their heart that they want to bring forward right now.
Well, as both of you have been sharing, I've just been doing little point form, words or notes or things that are dinging like a bell for me. And I keep hearing there's so many moments and opportunities and cycles where we arrive at a 0 point and then 0 point and then 0 point. And I feel like in one system of astrology, I believe the moon is now marked to be at 0 degrees Leo, and so that's kind of what I was seeing with the lion's mouth open. And I also felt that the lion's face being mapped out in the body as she spoke. So I don't know why that's significant, except for maybe like a lot of our identity comes through our how we present, how other people see us. A lot of that solar plexus journey is about how we look to the world, how we see ourselves, about this suit that we're wearing. And the other thing that came, so I feel like, with the Magdalene feast day just happening, and then this new moon, and then day out of time tomorrow, all of that tells me, yes, this is like absolutely a 0 point opportunity. And what the reason I believe we weren't allowed to do the solar plexus live until today was because that is the journey of the solar plexus, to arrive at a neutral, at the higher mind consciousness state, the mind of the observer, the angelic mind, to no longer be in this struggle of right, good, bad, right or wrong, good or bad energy. And the neutrality is what allows us to move into the next phase of the heart, which is dismantling and dissolving. And so, so I feel like the solar plexus journey is exploring how to become more aligned with the higher self or higher mind, and to identify when it's ego mind, when there's a struggle, when you're swimming upstream, when you're in battle or in struggle, when you're tied up in knots, and when you're in flow. And that's the experiment of the solar plexus, to refine that. And then eventually you're just activated with that soul fire energy, that flame that you spoke about, the gem, the lustrousness of that gem luster, which then shines like the diamond sun activation of the solar plexus through the eyes. So I've had experiences throughout the season of us, when we first started solar plexus till now, where I would be met with entities or fears or just collective energies coming into my field and sitting across in circle with those energies. And what actually was dissolving them was diamond eye gaze. And so that tells me something also about this alchemical process that we've been in. And just with your descriptive words, it's very resonant for me through my personal experiences. Then the irises of the eyes are also sun, or like the eyes are in the glyph of the sun. So you have the ring of the eye and then the center dot, and that's the glyph. And the organ of sense is sight, that is associated with the solar plexus, and the organ of action is our feet. And so we also talked about the solar plexus being like action, confidence in self to move forward. Why would our eyes have anything to do with that? Well, if we get distracted, we're being siphoned. Our focus, our mission is being pulled away and off track. And so practicing drishti, practicing gaze, practicing remaining on in your focus and clear in your focus. So this is such a clarification center that, as Shekinah Ma says, allows us to move into the upper triangle. And so like where we point our feet and how we walk, what we allow ourselves to, you know, to look at, and keeping our focus and strong determination and centeredness and concentration, all of that supports a healthy solar plexus. So, and then when we're in our when we're in our authority, our God authority, we can engage with one another and look at each other in the eyes and exchange that fire in the eyes, exchange that diamond light, exchange the luster of that God force that we've cultivated, of the raw of the sun temple. And we're in a state of complete self-honesty and embodied presence to be able to allow what needs to come and go and flow, and there's no blockage there. And then that really helps us to come into the coherence that we need to then only operate from a place of what's meant for us, rather than what we have been programmed to do or should do. Or so much of the solar plexus cleanup is like understanding viral beliefs, and clearing through all of the false belief systems that would tell us to go against ourselves. I kind of repeat some of these things in all of our calls, but I think it's worth repeating. So those were the things that kind of came into my mind. And I just have to say, in my own life, like Robert and I, we were just reflecting, like when we met, I was living in an apartment and the whole hallway was painted yellow. Like we were in the yellow wing. And so it was like, and then we had like 8 years of working out our power struggles and dynamics between the masculine and the feminine, and just like our own identities and ways we were performing, and maybe trying to be someone we weren't, and then like working through all of that. And oh my God, it's been like an 8-year solid journey of focusing on healing solar plexus, because sometimes it just doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it can. I believe things are accelerating and it doesn't have to take that long. And then we end up with this house with a yellow wall, and we just went and got aqua paint, and we're going to be painting it tomorrow in aquamarine blue color. And so I was like, this is, it's just really reflective of like where we are collectively, but also our personal journey and how much we've gone through to arrive at a place where we're like, just more authentic and more in the heart and ready for that like heart chakra, journey. And we spent the morning doing like dissolve and dismantle declarations and meditations on removing all contracts to like the debt system. So like removing and dissolving and dismantling our contract with visa debt, with, whatever, student loans, like consciously using and actively using the power of our voice, to really, like, if we believe we are the creator of our reality, then let's what does that mean to embody that and feel that vibrating on every cell and level of your being? And it's so simple once you know how to use your voice. And I think the solar plexus journey is what gets us there. Like it's what allows this to start to open up, because the confidence comes, through this. Or I feel they're very connected. Anyways, I'll stop there. But yeah, lots of synchronicities, and it feels like a day of celebration for us in our household.
Awesome. You unpacked quite a lot there. Thank you for that. But yeah, I'm congratulations to you and Robert. But yeah, we're definitely moving into those stronger vibrations of, speaking our truth and anchoring that energy within our bodies, right? So yeah, I totally feel that. Um, Shekinah Ma, do you want to say something at this point?
Sure. The solar plexus is like the gateway, right? And in like yoga, we do hands like this, the thumbs up, and you put them out, and then you see or visualize yourself on the cross, and you do breath of fire, and it is actually called the ego eradicator. And as the solar plexus stands for me, or the Mani Pura, pura, it's like purification, right? It's you must purify to be able to come up and out of the ego, which is kind of symbolic of the dragon energy as well, and to raise that dragon, raise that Kundalini, energy, right? To transform through what's called the grand deception. So we see this playing out in our world in a big, big way. And we see that right now, this grand deception, which has been occurring for thousands of years, wherein we have been lied to, we have been deceived, we have had deception, the grand deception, in that we don't even know our true history, in that we do not even know like the actual truth within who is actually on top of this pyramid. And we have, the whole like sort of closed, like the door has been closed to us understanding our star nation connection and our like original star seed or original kind of source, and just that whole Star Wars phenomenon. To me, as I tune into a Manipura chakra, both self and then on planetary, global, kind of collective level, because everything is micro and macro, then I tune into the story of Great Spirit turning the dragon into the dragonfly. And so Dragon became so egoic and had fallen and had become this like, just like ate everything and like burned down. It's like smog, like in The Hobbit. So smog has dragon spell, right? And it like hoards gold and it's like all into its ego. And it's just like this, wants to be the most powerful and really gets off on that, right? And so that all exists in our solar plexus chakra and in that egoic deception. And so we see that playing out in politics. We see that playing out right now in the 5D chess game going on. We see that in our medical system, education system, just on every single level, the financial system, even just how we grow our food. And I mean, like, wow. So I get the keyword colonization, and that has all been that grand deception. So I'm just tuning into how we are collectively now ready planetarily and probably then even cosmically, in our cosmology, to be able to actually finally regain our truth, which is our dragon power. Humbled to the roots of grass, mind you, because again, Great Spirit had to humble the dragon, so therefore it made it into the dragonfly, which is quite a bit smaller, as we know, and quite a lot less powerful, as we know. So we've been working to regain the trust, and the right use of power, because power is like a key word when it comes to solar plexus. So just to wrap it up, I just want to say that when we burn through, that is the point of the solar sun, solar fire, sweat lodge. You want to burn through the ego so that you can uncover the soul. And when the ego is in charge, then it's fight, it's flight, it's freeze, it's adrenaline, it's cortisol, and it's like shut down, and it's like, kicking and screaming, and it's war on Mother Earth. It's war on Middle Earth. So what we want to do is like, again, just clear out through either breath of fire. I like dandelion, lion's gate, lots of dandelion energy in the field right now. But, you can like draw out the chakra symbol. You can put your water on top of that, charge your water with that. Find all the ways to come into harmony, to come into that place of purifying, purifier, solar fire burning through that deception, that dross, that karma, all that kakajuju that keeps you held down in the lower triangle, so that you can then like master. Jesus walking over water is mastery over the lower self, walking through fire, mastery over lower self. Then we can come up into the heart, into the kingdom of heaven, into the dimensions of the blessed, right? So they say it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man, because like a dragon, like smog, you're like never gonna go through humility to get through that eye of the needle, right? So that is why we need to let go, have detachment, put down that ego, put down all that bondage energy, and allow for yourself to ascend into that soul vibration. And that's what Jesus did when he took on the sun, because he is a sun king. So he took on the sun and he set us all free. So it's quite a lot of potent power in the solar plexus for sure.
I was gonna,
Absolutely.
yeah. I was
Thank you.
yeah. Sorry, Raquel. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I liked, where she was leading with, like what can we do to harmonize with that energy center? And I was just thinking of different things I've done along my own journey and own path. And for me, like doing some inquiry into my family lineages and ancestral work, help to resolve some of the, it's like if we don't know who we are and we have been lied to, and the true history has been occulted from us, and lots of our ancestors rejected and denied, their indigenous identity that was connected to the earth and some of the more pure um, energies and um, like ways of being and living on this planet. It's like that work is necessary because of how severed off we've been systematically, and from a higher perspective, maybe given permission to go through this joyride of having to come back and remember. But I think ancestral healing or reconciling any trauma or pain or resentment or blame that's taking place through the mother and father lines, and being curious about further back than even the last 7 generations, because if you reach far enough back, you can grab something from your heritage, from your ancestry, from your lineages that actually resonates to be more pure, more true. And if you pull that forward then through all the intervening years, then that helps to clean um, all the generations that are closer to you, where the trauma got compounded and compacted to cover up your diamond, like got covered with shit or mud, So it kind of breaks off the shit and the mud, and then you start to clarify that gem in your solar plexus. So that's been essential, for me. So when talking about the solar plexus in the past, I've often said, like, sometimes I've had to identify with something. It's kind of like trying on a jacket, like try on an identity for a while. It's sort of like a reclamation process, so that you're no longer in this struggle with it. So it's like, in order to transcend it. So it's like identify, like, for example, I identified with my Cree heritage, I identified with my Scottish heritage. And then after that, there was a point where maybe it was limiting me, it was no longer serving me, or it was creating an element of suffering that felt limiting. And so then I released the attachment. But there was an integration and a reclamation there. And then I was like more interested in identifying with my galactic heritage and my starseed origins. But I needed to identify with that in order to feel it, reclaim it, make it more whole, make it more purified and cleansed within my being. And then now there's less attachment or need to be identified as that star seed or as that galactic, having that galactic lineage. So it was like a process of reclamation or identifying with the things that you're curious about, allowing yourself to go there and try it on for a while. And then in that it becomes like an integration, an alchemy, an embodiment. But where we're over identified and clinging to that identity, let's say I'm over identified and clinging to my identity as a Cree woman, then that created a lot of suffering for me, because I would be stuck in all the story there. And so when I started to suffer, that was a clue to me that it was time to have a death. It was time to let it be completely in the fires, and then to rise up out of that reclamation, process into more of like a phoenix energy out of that, to have a more higher or spiritual perspective of that part of who I am, free from the ancestral trauma, free from the stories, free from the politics, free from all of that. And so, and then and then another attitude was like, how can I harmonize with myself on all levels? So I guess that could also be like self-acceptance, and then responsibility. 100, that Ho'oponopono, it's like 100% responsibility. So I've really been doing that over the last week or so, is looking and really scanning for where I'm not taking 100% responsibility. So all of these have been very helpful for me in my journey of understanding this area and center in my life.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we've all been tuning into a similar sort of energy field and working through all of those traumas, right? Yeah, for me personally, I've been dealing with the inner child trauma and ancestral trauma. And so working through that with the Ho'oponopono prayer and just, working through that forgiveness, working through that energy of love and connecting to the Creator and transmuting all of that energy. So you're right in saying that as well, in terms of those timelines as we go back. This is the perfect opportunity for us to align all of those energies. In a way, we are able to reach back and just pick up all of those energies and bring it into the forefront, right? And then transmute it, deal with it. Like you said, take responsibility for it. Even though it may not be our own karma, it's our family, it's our ancestors. But we are at that unique time where we can actually alchemize all of this into that 0 point energy field, right? So it's a perfect time to do all of that. And yeah, I've been doing that work as well, and it has powerfully, moved something within my body. I could visibly see these inner children within me that were struggling, from childhood traumas within, my relationship with my mom, with my relationship with my father, and all of that energy that was stuck and that was holding me back. Energies of lack, of, not being good enough. Throat chakra. I've always been a very shy person, and it's been activating in the last, I would say, probably 6 months that my throat chakra has come online. So it's all of that, bringing all of that to the forefront, healing it, alchemizing it, and resolving all of those issues that were, stuck within that solar plexus area. And also, what came through was that, and I think Shekinah Grace, you also tuned into this energy of and this is for the collective, the tuning into the energy of Lucifer. You and I both connected to that energy, and from my connection to Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, I was informed that Lucifer has finally given up his hold, shall we say, on this reality. I don't know how far that is true and how well it resonates with you, but this is what I've received in terms of the change of the God, if you will. And this is coming through on many levels, right? It's um, I think Indy has also talked about this, those Venusian Mintakan accords, right, that are sort of coming into the focus right now. And so we have this change of the God, if you will, where where the old constructs are disintegrating, you know, relieving their hold, if you will, on humanity. And so Lucifer and all of those satanic energies are now losing their grip on humanity. And so that's the indication that I had as well from these higher dimensional beings, that Lucifer has removed his reign, if you will, from that lower astral energy.
I would suggest that that's just a reflection as well of us no longer being in a false identity,
Yeah.
releasing all the inauthentic, everything inauthentic about how we live, how we embody, how we speak, how we be is a reflection of that.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's our own construct, right? When you think about it, like who created Lucifer, right? It's the energetic creation of something like that. Like we create our own fears, we create our own how we perceive certain things, right? Our fears, it's all in that gut energy, right? So when we are scared, we feel it in our gut, right? And that's
Well,
something.
the guts are also like in Chinese medicine, the ancestors talking. So there's like a partial truth to what you're saying, in my opinion, just that there is something we construct, but then there's the overall construct, which is
Mhm.
like now the Matrix is not a movie, it's a documentary. And in that document, that's Keanu Reeves' words. So in that documentary of the Matrix, right, we are in a construct, right? And that construct was not engineered by you or I, but through like a collective shadow aspect, which Lucifer, which literally means, most beautiful as bright as light, had fallen. And when you fall and you separate from the wholeness or holiness, then you break. That the sacred hoop got broken. And so that's where the fracture, that's where the break in like a bone breaks, right? And you have to reset the bone. Well, we broke and it took us this long to reset the bone of life and existence to be able to not have that cracked cavity where the darkness, the black goo spilled into creation. So it's like we're literally fixing the collective solar plexus, and that's what we're witnessing right now. And
Mhm.
that apocalypse, which means revelations, is literally our collective solar plexus clearing. And that's why it's like there's all this chaos.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's like we're collectively at the solar plexus and we're about to go into this heart chakra, the
Yeah.
golden age coming up and out of the lower hell, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And when we look at it, it's like the sacral is the feminine energy, right? And the solar plexus is the masculine. So it's like these two energies are sort of climbing to that 0 point energy field, right? To invert, if you will, like that Merkaba you were talking about, invert that triangle of energy. And so, yeah, my latest transmission from Mary Magdalene on the feast day, the 22nd, and this morning from Yeshua, they both address this in a slightly different way, but it's mostly in an encouragement to get onto those highest timelines and to align, if you will, or just leave behind all of those constructs and the old world, if you will, and allow for your energy to connect to the higher self energy and to that energy of the Creator. And Yeshua has today in his transmission talked about the photon belt and it being like a portal to the ascension. So when we tune into that photon belt, it's like that pure God energy, if you will, that's beaming down upon us at this time. And he also talked about it as being a limited opportunity or a window of opportunity within which we work to achieve that connection, if you will, to that higher self energy, to dissolving this establishment, to getting onto that highest timeline. And the year that he gave me was 2065. So we've got this window of opportunity within which we are traversing through that photon belt. And so this is a great opportunity for us to do all the work that we can, whether it's ancestral, whether it's in inner child work, whether it's aligning to our higher self, all of those, those shadow work energies, if you will. This is the greatest opportunity to do that because after 2065, the entire collective moves into a higher bandwidth. And so what happens is all the beings that were able to tune into this energy and make that correction, if you will, and alignment to their higher selves will move into that higher band of reality and frequency. And those that didn't will still continue on that ascension path. But once they transition, they will have to, in a way, come back in perhaps another lifetime or on another plane of existence to then try to tune back into the highest level of that timeline that was reached by us as a collective during this ascension cycle. So I thought that was pretty profound because he compared it to his lifetime and Mary Magdalene's lifetime and said that the purity that we are reaching within this ascension cycle is far beyond what they were able to achieve as well. So as a collective, we are able to go past what they were able to achieve on an individual level. So we have this beautiful opportunity until 2065 to achieve that on many, many levels within our own ascension as well as our collective ascension journey.
Well, there's a solar flash, right? And the solar flash, also known as a nova, like a micronova or supernova. We're not exactly entirely able to know if it's going to be micro or full blast. But if you know the Wonder Woman back with like Diane Carter, I think Linda Carter, and the name Diana Prince, that's Wonder Woman back in the old school days of the 80s. So she would spin, right? She would spin and spin and spin, and then you would see this like, you'd see this nova, and then she would shapeshift or like transform into her avatar, into her Amazonian goddess self. So to me, this is like what I see is what I wrote about in my book was like we on the Earth Mother, it's spinning faster, right? Every day. It's called the quickening. And like even NASA has confirmed that the actual timeline of each day, 24-hour period, it's like by just a fraction of some seconds, but it's like actually noticeably physically shortened. So we're kind of like quickening to the point where time is actually changing. And the planet is spinning faster and faster because the sun is setting off these coronal mass ejections, CME, solar flares, right? And they're mega. And then the planet of the Earth is, I mean, all the planets are going through climate change, not just the Earth, like all of them are. And so the Earth, though, for us, anywho, is like actually going through a pole shift, right? And so if you think of like a pendulum, like it's just like kind of teeter-tottering like this right now. It's kind of just going like this. And like physically, the North Pole is not set at the North Pole anymore. Okay. So it's just over a bit. And we notice that because the Inuit people are saying like their sun is rising and setting in different areas, and they've been tracking it forever. And also the herbs and the plants that they harvest are actually coming at different times because the sun is changing, therefore the earth is changing. That's why all the space is changing. And so if the sun is going to go, and then the earth, because the sun's plasma, the earth core is plasma, plasma in our blood, we're going to shapeshift Wonder Woman style. I believe this is what I've been shown. And it's going to be like a where we go into our higher selves. And so collectively, planetarily, and even in our solar system, it's one giant manipura, one giant collective shape-shifting transformational butterfly, caterpillar to butterfly. And the sun's gonna go kaboom. And that's predicted by actual very hardcore, amazing scientists. One being Ben Davidson, who I've followed for 14 years now. And he says 2040. So we literally have like almost 15 years or whatever to get ourselves straight. We'll see.
I was going to ask, like, um, I imagine this requires our participation, and being proactive. And at the same time, I don't necessarily like to speak of or be in the train of thought that anyone's left behind or there's any sort of hierarchy to the process. And at the same time, I also know that conscious, like being co-creative and participatory in the process is beneficial for the collective. And so my question to you both, just for the audience, is like, how how do you suggest we prepare for that and participate in that transfiguration of light?
The sun showed me a long time ago. I seen this as a child. So the sun had three pathways. So the first pathway is that people who could not hold a high frequency, and we know this has been all over the bloody place. Eat a high vibrational diet. Do your yogas, be in nature, do your shadow work, all the ABCs, one, two, threes. This is like all over. It's spray painted on all the walls in massive graffiti. So this should be just kind of like we know this by now, but that's a big thing. But then, so the one pathway is like the people who cannot hold that high vibrational frequency, because it's really all just frequency, they will actually physically pass. And we do know that there's a lot of people leaving their bodies right now. There's a huge death toll happening right now. I've been doing a lot of spirit work, pulling waywards out of the astral and out of the wayward realms because there's so, anyway, different story. So they will actually ascend via their spirit bodies, soul bodies, like, their Merkabic outside of the flesh and bone body. Because, this is just a flesh suit, right? This is like just a clothing that we wear for our soul. So they will make it through the spirit life. And then the other group are the people that will make it in their physical bodies and will become, like I just said, Wonder Woman, in the sense that we will like become our perfected, Christed body of light, rainbow body of light. That was always the prophecies. And then the third group of the people that just for whatever reason, because it is a free will situation and it is entirely up to us, these beings are going to be recycled as pure energy. So the sun will actually like kind of like it'll be like a black hole where it just sucks you right up and you're going into the 0 point and you'll be recycled into pure energy. And I'm seeing that as like our evils, where like they're just corrupted to the core, and that rotten apple is just not coming back, just not gonna come back, doesn't want to come back, chooses death over life. That's a choice. So what happened then was the sun, and then out of the sun were like these rays of light, and each and every one of us that make this transition, whether through our flesh and bone bodies or through our spirit bodies, will have our own ray, will exist in our own. It's like a deification. It's like a god goddess initiation where you become the lord or lady or king or queen of your realm, and you will be given the keys to creation, which means you think it, you feel it, you become it. Think, feel, become, think, feel, become. And you're like a shape-shifting like superstar. So
Yeah,
it's very exciting, but
it
it
is
is a
very
physical
exciting.
choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that totally resounds with me. There was a transmission from Yeshua to address this. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And he did the same thing that you did. He explained it as three different groups of people. And the same sort of way you did explain it. And it's like, the really bad ones and the Draco, for example, are going back into space dust, right? And so, yeah. And so there's this other group that are on that highest timeline, like I just talked about. And there's the middle section, which is like those beings that are peripherally aware of what's happening, but either are not interested or don't want to take part in this ascension, and so they still ascend, but they are given that opportunity to come back in a future lifetime and do the whole thing all over again. So my advice to these people would be, if you're aware of this situation, take full advantage of this opportunity to work on that, the shadow self, work on the inner children, do all those things, heal your body, heal your energy body, all of those things that are, being offered to you at this time. And just going back to the solutions, if you will, and where we might heal ourselves, I resort to certain teas to heal that solar plexus. And what I've got in my notes is rosemary, fennel, and cinnamon tea that helps with that solar plexus area. And the other way to heal the solar plexus is to find a good meditation practice. Start with the daily yoga meditation practices, deep breathing exercises, and heal that body, speech, mind energy, if you will, aligning that energy to the higher consciousness, because that is that God wound, that healing of that God wound, if you will. And so incorporating foods with the color yellow and using gemstones like citron or yellow topaz in your life to stimulate that balance, if you will, of this chakra. And yeah, other things like, going out into the sun, grounding your energy, doing sun salutations in your yoga practice, and doing creative things like, journaling, painting, art, that sort of thing, and using bright colors just to bring in that creative energy into your field and just having fun with it. I know for myself, I've been enjoying gardening, going out into the sun and just loving that energy, and so it's just connecting with nature, doing all of those things. And then for essential oils, just using, energies like lemon or ginger or cedar wood, and just diluting that with a carrier oil and applying it on your skin and enhancing that energy within your own being so that you're inhaling that energy and enveloping your being with that pure citron energy, right? Which is a great connection to that yellow energy. And the other thing I also found beneficial was the candle meditation. So, candle gazing, right? If you just go into meditation, light a candle and open your eyes just a slit and then just gaze into that flame for, 1 or 2 minutes and envision that energy just dissolving all of that deep, perhaps, energy that's sitting in your solar plexus energy and bring forth that prana energy. So, as you breathe in and out, you're breathing in that pure energy of the candle, of that flame, and igniting that solar plexus energy, that golden energy in your gut, and dissolving all of that stagnant energy within your solar plexus energy. So hopefully that helps.
For me, I need movement. I know that I'm much healthier and more balanced in that area of life, and on all levels, like what the solar plexus represents when I move my body through dance or yoga. For me, I need a little bit more of like a, and I do a lot of movement just all day long, like whatever, but allowing yourself to trust the impulse to move, like not holding back. I think in our culture, especially Western culture, we kind of are taught to be kind of reserved in our impulses to move, which are very organic and innocent and like how a child just like the duck. We've used that example, like how animals do this in nature, just to be more free with what your body wants to do and trusting that impulse to. And there's always wisdom behind it that we won't consciously maybe have the time to understand every single impulse, but the body of wisdom and gnosis knows what it needs. And so if you feel like moving, if you feel like shaking, if you feel like, changing directions on a dime when you're headed in one direction in your car and you're like, no, like it's all so much like movement comes from this center. It's your point of choice. It's your point of decision. It's your point of pathway. So trusting the movement that isn't logical or thought out, but it's like a responsiveness, which is the healthy solar plexus as opposed to like reactionary in the emotional realm, right? Emotional reactions. So it's the difference between shifting from reaction to responsiveness. And that can appear impulsive to the observer, but it's actually deeply rooted in body wisdom and in somatic intelligence and in intuition.
I was just seeing well, my dogs came in, so here's one of them.
Oh.
Yeah, I was seeing as you were talking about the dance, the haka. If you've ever seen the Maori people dance their haka,
Yes, it's very
that is
powerful, isn't it? Yeah.
the dance of the Manipura. Like, yeah, it's like you are in your power.
Yeah,
Because
that's like the lion energy, isn't it?
well,
Yeah.
the solar plexus is like your power center, right? So if you want to be in your power, you know, they say fake it to make it. I say like actually just like become it, like just tune into it and feed it, like fan that flame, like grow that power, right? So you can't really fake things really, but I mean whatever works for you. I'm just saying like the haka is like a total picture of power.
Well, it's a good way to instill that energy in your being, even if you're struggling, right? It's like you're almost breaking the shell, if you will, right, of that energy that might be stuck, right? So if you do that dance, it's like you're anchoring that energy into your solar plexus. So it makes sense.
It makes me also think
Yeah.
of like Kali and Sekhmet, Magdalene, very strong, like these divine feminine archetypes, or the Lilith. You shared the Lilith video with us, Shekinah Ma, that resonated. You know, it's like these energies are like naturally, when we integrate them, when we kind of, like I said, like you kind of identify or you commune with specific things that are archetypes or qualities that exist within us, but this is just sort of the thing that taps that. It's like tapping the part of you that's dormant or not quite fully flamed or fully online, and it can help trigger that, so then it is more of an embodied, just your being that thing. And so sometimes that does come from outside, and there's a bit of a process of like trying that on, and then other times it's like you really go in and you pull it out from inside. But you know, I think it kind of goes back and forth, just like how things expand and contract. It's like sometimes as within so without, sometimes as without so within, you know. um, but what also makes me think of, like, when the solar plexus is healthy, I noticed in myself, my yeses and my nos are much more clear, you know. So it's like that I think was mentioned in that video. And prior to watching that video on Lilith that you shared, Shekinah Ma, that has been something I've really been, you know, clarifying in my life for several years now. But I do notice when I feel healthy, when I feel strong in my center and know myself, you know, then it's like there's no less time wastage. You don't waste other people's time, you don't waste your own time. It's like everything is on point, everything is on purpose, and you know your yeses and your nos very clearly and very fast, very quickly as well.
If you work with horses whose actual animal totem is power, right? Horse power. So it's like your personal power. So that's again solar plexus. Um, working with really any animals and also children, or even being a teacher of, say, yoga, what have you. We know that like the best teachers or animal people are the people in their power. Like to the point where when I worked with horses, you really didn't have to say a word. You didn't have to say, you know, like giddy up. You didn't have to say like, "Ooh." You could actually like walk away, the horse would follow you. You know, it's like you when you come into your power, the whole world around you changes. And I worked with children for like my entire life, started nannying when I was 9. And I've learned over, and I'm 47 now. So all these years of working with all these, you know, being like the alpha, like, because again, like alpha, you want to be the alpha. You're a person of power, right? You're a leader, which is lion totem, and animal totems. Lion is a leader. So all this to say, like when you're in your power, you become a leader. And then the world will change around you because somebody of power, they don't even have to speak. They're just boom. You
Yeah.
feel it.
No, I totally agree with that. And I think we discussed some of this during our last gridwork mission in the masculine awakening, right? It's that anchoring of that Christos energy and how the masculine or the divine masculine has been distorted in a way to believe something that is not in alignment with the true creator energies, right? And so that's that solar plexus awakening of that true divine masculine energy coming into realization for itself and awakening to the deception that it has been under for all of these years, right?
Mm, mhm.
I Yeah. I think someone in their power too doesn't waver, right? So it's kind of like clear yeses, clear nos. If we can't find that, then we're not in, probably not in self-trust, or haven't been given permission or realized that we can trust ourselves. We're not trusting our body and what feels good in our body, or we haven't yet had the permission or explored what it means to honor your body and make decisions based on what resonates and what is good for you or true for you. And so then when we're in a wavering or making any decision that goes against that, against the body, against the self, that creates the chaos. And then there's so much that has to get unraveled and unpacked from there. We kind of have to go back, and there's so much more effort and so much more energy that's required to understand, to come back to that place of power within you. And so I think self-trust is related to the solar plexus, and also knowing your body, loving your body, and like trusting your body through the feeling and the emotion, the emotional intelligence that's installed within you. It's a spiritual asset that helps you navigate this realm, on earth. And so I'd say emotions are a big journey too for some people when they're just starting. It's a whole school, it's a whole level of the university of life here on earth to understand the emotional body, because we talk a lot about the mental and the spiritual and the physical. The emotional body, I think, is part of this journey through the solar plexus. And so it's like, yeah, like you don't feel powerful. You can shift into victim and victimizer states, this game, of blame and victim and victimizer, when we're not clear in our yeses and nos. We're not clear in ourself. We're not clear in our path. We're not trusting of ourself. We're not trusting our body. So it's a very important gateway, as you said, Shekinah Ma. It's yeah, I actually love the solar plexus. I think it's a fascinating, I love all of them, but yeah, it's
Yeah, it directly feeds into this very important day out of time that we are entering into tomorrow, right? So I'll just read a little blurb that I found online. It says the Mayan calendar symbolizes a sacred pause in time where the cosmic ledger is paused and symbolizes a transition between endings and beginnings. It is aligning the 13 moon calendar with the solar year. Following this day is the celebration of the galactic new year. So yeah, it's a truly remarkable time of year, and we sort of bring an end to that old energy. And today's new moon as well is totally aligned with that new beginnings, if you will, right? So I think it's a great time to consciously make that shift into that new paradigm of the new earth, and move into those higher timelines, as Yeshua talked about the photon belt energies as well.
I'm just seeing in my mind's eye like this flame rising up from the solar plexus and starting to land in the heart. Like it's like this
Yeah,
rising
yeah,
flame. Um, it feels good in my body, and I'm seeing it as a visual as well.
yeah. And that's what he taught, right? He wanted to have us all embody that energy of the Christ within us, right? And when you look at those, I guess those sacred pictures of Yeshua that go around now in the Christian world, it's that energy of the heart that's alight with the fire, right? And that's the heart energy, that's the heart chakra, that's completely online, that's completely aligned, that's in tune with that higher energy, right? And so once that energy is ignited, it's like all of the other distortions, if you will, get burnt in that true heart fire, right?
It makes me think of the threefold flame, and if this just popping into my mind now, it could be arranged in other ways, I'm sure, but like wisdom, the wisdom of the root and sacral power of the solar plexus, and love, wisdom, power, and love, and those three flames, unite to create a single flame. But that's the threefold flame, one way of describing it: wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
power, and love.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
beautiful alignment that we find ourselves after all this time, and we did do women and we did do children and we did do the men clearing for the sacred feminine masculine and our beautiful children. So there's a song that goes, give thanks to the mother Gaia, give thanks to the father sun, give love to the children in the garden where the mother and the father are one. And it's kind of like we're fulfilling this prophecy in a way, and that we come together here to finally come into the Manipura on the new moon in Leo. It's like a total timeline, sacred geometry of its own. And I just wanted to say, as you ladies were sharing, I kept getting this just second coming vibration. And a lot of Narnia vibe today. Like people have talked about it. I've seen like a picture of it somewhere. Like I keep getting hit by Narnia today,
Mm.
live in the wardrobe, which is just such an interesting, fascinating whole journey in of itself, wherein we go from victim to victor. And that to me is the key mantra for this Manipura chakra is victim to victor.
Yeah.
And we're transcending the victim and we're becoming the hero's journey. So we're becoming our own hero in our own hero's journey. And as we do, we're kinged and queened and crowned and robed, and we become that beautiful victor, right? So really
Yeah,
good energy in all of it.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Well, and we just celebrated the feast day of Mary Magdalene, right? That in itself, and along with Yeshua and what he's bringing forward as well, the two of them brought forward the sowing of the seeds 2,000 years ago. And so, what they were seeding 2,000 years ago within the light fields and correcting the architecture of the devolution, the inversion, if you will, at that time, is now coming into that 0 point field and correcting itself. So it's like it's taken 2,000 years for that inversion, if you will, and for that correction to sort of bring that, that field into that correct place where it can sit now in that 0 point energy accurately within the field, if you will. And so,
And with that we're 2025, that's a 9 year. So nine is the 0 point.
yeah,
Nine caps out in numerology because it's a zero.
yeah.
So we're like doing it
Yeah,
already.
absolutely. And to me, the second coming is her energy. It's like Mary Magdalene is stepping forward, because Yeshua has in a way had his turn, right? And so now it's like, okay, Yeshua, step behind. It's now my turn.
Well,
And so
kind of
she's coming forward.
power.
It's like they're the same, it's like two sides of the same coin, right? So it's like he's already had his entrance, if you will, into this dimension as the leader. And so now she is taking the reins and is showing up as that second coming, if you will. And so it's that divine mother energy, and it's come through so powerfully for me, in the energy of Hathor, in the energy of Isis, Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, Green Tara, Mary Magdalene. It's like all of these powerful, divine mother energies, Mother Mary, it's all of these divine mother energies packed into one. And it's like she's leading that charge, right? And so it's like all of that energy is anchoring in our being. And it's like not only galvanizing that divine masculine energy that's been dormant and that has been suppressed, but it's also alchemizing all of that energy that was inverted, that was corrupted, that was not in alignment. And so it's like this great shaking, like you said, Shekinah Ma, it's like this great shaking that's taking place, but it has to take place in order for that alignment to take place. And so whether it's volcanic eruptions, whether it's flooding, whether it's disease within our body, whether it's that how do I say this, the inner child healing, that ho'oponopono energy, that forgiveness energy, it's all alchemized, it's all coming to the surface. And whichever way in which we bring that forward to heal ourselves, it's all coming together, on these many different levels. So I think it's a great time to be alive, to experience all of this in its collective, right?
Well, we know that like so Magdalena means tower, and in the tarot, it's the 16 card, which is the tower. And in that essence of the tower card, it's like the Babylonian tower say is falling, and it's sudden revelation, sudden enlightenment. It's like, it's just breakthrough, right? And so what I see is that Magdalena has been coming in so strong. Like literally my entire feeds of like social medias are nothing but Magdalenas. Everybody, their sister, mother, and even brother are all channeling the Magdalena. And so she is in our field big time. And we
Yeah.
are witnessing and even this correlates to what Indigo Angel 222 was sharing on her
Yeah.
beautiful channel with the Magdalena codes. So we are experiencing literal breakthrough, okay? And
Absolutely.
sudden enlightenment, sudden awakening. It is happening like powerfully. And after we get the 16, so that is the 16 in Tarot, we go to the 17, which is the star. So not only do I see that right now we are in a 16, but we're moving into the 17. We've passed through the 15, so that was the devil. We've all called out the devil. We've all been clearing the devil. That's 15 bondage, 16 tower, boom, sudden awakening, 17 stars. So that's when we're going to be given again that like morph. It's called a metamorphosis where we
Mm.
morph into our higher self. So we finally clear the lower triangle, come up to the higher triangle. Bam! It's the second coming. We are all Christed. We are all, the second coming to me is like everyone that is in that frequency is going to be Christed in their perfected body, Christed body of light. So this is a very exciting time. I mean, personally, I feel bliss is the antidote to evil. So in just, blissing out as much as possible, you are getting crowned every time you bliss.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such an exciting time to be alive. I feel your sister. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So, ladies, we've passed the 1 hour mark. Do you want to continue any more? Any further? Anything else that's on your heart? Um,
I would just say that I know Venus spins in the opposite direction of the rest of the planets. So there is something very significant about Venus as like a portal of ascension. Um, and the fact that is it Mentaka? Am I saying that
Mintaka,
right?
yeah.
Is
Hmm.
the central star of Orion's belt. I'm just speaking it. I don't have. I'm just speaking the connection.
Well, you asked us who is our star seed origin, and I'm like, I'm Mintalkin, and then boom, Indy starts channeling Mintalkins, and I'm like, whoa, girlfriend,
Yeah,
you picked up the signal somehow, and
Yeah.
yeah,
last about
interesting.
yeah. It's interesting for me too because about last winter maybe I can't quite time is hard to track these days, but I was meditating and I felt myself in the center of Orion's belt, and I was just it was like a parallel life I was living, and I was just meditating there. Like my job was only to meditate in a 0 point or neutral field. And the information I got was just that my role was to neutralize. And I didn't know the names of the stars in Orion, but that's where I was located, was at the center of the belt. And then the night that Lucifer came to me in my dream and was sent back to this through the sun to source, my dog woke me up at 2 something in the morning, right when Venus was rising. And it was the brightest Venus I've ever seen. Um, like right after this dream. So it was such a confirmation for me. I mean, I couldn't, orchestrate Demara waking me up, and I hadn't been waking up or setting my alarm to watch Venus rise in the sky. So I'm just sharing that that's exciting to me. I don't know what to make of it. I think Indy did a really great job of
Yeah.
synthesizing, and then Shekinah Ma really brings in those transmissions just through her embodiment. It's all very activating and exciting to me, but yet Venus is a very important player right now, absolutely. And then
Yeah.
all of that Mary, Isis, Hathor, all that lineage of those divine feminine Christ beings.
Demira is Hathor, isn't it?
Demera, I don't know. We just named her because
Oh,
her name means
what's
protector.
the Hathor temple? Dendera. Sorry, I
And
thought.
Yeah,
Oh,
then,
no, Dendera. No, sorry, I thought that was what. Okay. But yeah, no, for me, when I was listening to Indy, what came to my mind and was confirmed by my guides is that we are moving into this reality where those that are open to communicating with those interdimensional beings are going to come online in a really palpable way, if you will. So in a way, we'll get invited to those councils, to those federation meetings, so that we can voice our opinion about how this planet needs to be managed, if you will. So it's like we are moving into that interdimensional aspect of ourselves and how we govern this planet. So those that are ready for that will come forward and step forward into that reality, if you will, to make those decisions.
mm,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, very, very powerful, ladies. So I'm sure more will be revealed as we go forward. Do you guys want to promote anything coming up in your reality in terms of service or events?
I always offer oracle readings and doing like what I call tune-ups or even grow to glows. So just bringing cleansing, clearing out auric and energetic things so you can be your diamond. It's like polishing your crystal. So that's always open.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got your contact information in the description, so if anybody's interested, please hit up these two ladies for the services that they offer. Go ahead, Shekinah Grace.
Right now, I'm really into the a call to do the body work. So I have various massage offerings. I work with, I lived with and mentored under and trained at a Ayurvedic clinic, and traveled to India with an Ayurvedic physician and therapist from India and Czech Republic. And so I did like that live in sort of ashram experience with them. And so my approach to massage is Ayurvedic. I use pure Ayurvedic oils, and I guess people have to connect with me in person on that level. But for virtual offerings, I too have been I'm starting to just be shown of where these seals and implants and things are in the body. They're just kind of showing up. And um, I do body scans and I work with the 13 body systems. So if anyone has a specific issue with a system like cardiovascular or lymphatic or lungs or respiratory, like I can, support them, guiding them in a journey on their own to intimately connect with those parts of their physiology to understand what's going on all levels. Could be very practical, physical, diet related, but it could be something deeper with like psychosomatic or emotional or past life related that needs to be resolved there.
Mm,
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, for myself, I have the 7-day meditation series, as I was talking about earlier, um, I guess the initiation into the divine feminine energies. So that's, I think it's, yeah, it's discounted until the end of August. So it's being offered at $77 at the moment instead of 111. So I would, yeah. I've just got really great feedback from the people that have taken this meditation series, and all the nuggets that they have received from these divine feminine energies. So yeah, I would totally take advantage of that discount at the moment. And other offerings are my course, Connecting to Your Higher Self, and I have one-on-one energy healing through myself or the divine ascended masters that I work with, like Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Hathor, Horus, and the collective of three who I've written these books with. So there's all that is connecting to progressing to the fifth dimension, and the voice of an angel as transmitted by Yeshua ben Joseph. So there's a lot of offerings there, which people can choose from. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this solar plexus offering from the three of us. We will be back soon with the heart chakra next Thursday. So hopefully you can tune in then. In the meantime, take care of yourself, and hopefully use some of our advice here to heal that solar plexus energy within your body, within your energy field. So thank you for tuning in. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.